Tom has so much going on inside. His mind is a very quick mind. His emotions are very free. So when you have a stillness or when you need him to be very laconic, you still sense an intensity in there. One of the things that flashed in my mind that there should be a female warrior, the equal of Max, and that she's fleeing across the wasteland, and Max reluctantly gets caught up with her in this post-apocalyptic world after the fall, as we call it. She's become a hard-bitten warrior. The decision was to go out into a real place, and being in Namibia allowed us a vast landscape in which to play and stage these events. And there were times when there was a massive chase on with many, many vehicles and many cameras and edge arms following it, and sometimes a helicopter, and we had communications between the actors and the stuntmen. The guys on the poles, on top of the poles, had to know when to get their cues, so they were all rigged up. It was a military exercise there in the dust and heat, and in the mornings and the evenings cold. I think shooting it over those 7-8 months, 120 days, and shooting mostly in continuity, in a slow motion way, replicated what the Chase of Fury Road is. He's in a bad way. He's captured and he's like a wild animal. He's no different from a wild animal. He's in a mask that prevents him from biting. He's muzzled. And so there is a sense that there is a more noble human being inside, but we find him in a very savage state. He sits on top of the dominance hierarchy. He's the warlord of the wasteland. He rules he rules this almost hermetically sealed world. I mean, no one knows what's out there anymore on the coast. They see the satellite and they say, is there anyone still out there? We don't know. But there within the wasteland you have the produce and the water that's created the citadel. You have the gas to run the vehicles and the munitions to protect all of that. So he is a dictator, a tyrant. Max Rockatansky is a kind of heroic everyman. He's someone who even predated cinema. He's the lone warrior, looking for some better self in a wasteland, in a dark age. Max starts off the movie virtually as a trapped, savage animal, and we see his evolution into a more noble, more reliable man. We see what his better self is to some degree. In her case, it's already there, and she's just giving it one more shot. She's fierce in her determination, and that's what I think Charlize brings to it so magnificently. But, she gets pretty close to being crushed, her soul, her heart being crushed, and but together they find some way to stand together against the chaos of the world, and they both improve because of that. It was an opportunity to do what I attempted to do back then, but to use the new technologies and these amazing machines like the Edge and digital cameras that you could put anywhere, and being able to erase tracks and wires and stuff we could never do, or change the sky, or do all that stuff, and yet still do real world vehicles and people in chaos. That was a really fantastic opportunity, and also bring what I thought in the ways that I might have evolved as a filmmaker that I've learned along the way. We work really, really hard to make sure that those loyal fans of the Mad Max movies will be satisfied, and more than satisfied. It's going to be an amplified experience. You have to do that 30 years later. It's going to be, I'm not going to say on steroids, but it's going to be very familiar on the one hand and unique also. It will be its own thing. And they'll get their thirst quenched On the other hand, those who've never seen a Mad Max movie, never even heard of a Mad Max movie, it will experience it as a standalone experience and a wild, crazy ride. I'm sure of it. To be perfectly honest, Charlize is the only one who came to mind. She's able to transform herself as an actor. She's physically adept. She was a ballerina for so long. So she has that precision and discipline, the physical discipline. She's not afraid to go out there and be uncompromising. The way she fires a gun, the way she fights, she is a warrior. The way she drives, and so on. And she was the one who said she wouldn't mess with hair. She called me one day and said, "Look, I'm just about to get a buzz cut. I better tell you before I do it," because we had thinking of some sort of wig and stuff. And I thought, brilliant. And I said, brilliant, go for it if you're prepared to do it. And it's absolutely right. Why would she mess with hair?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey